Ladies and gents, it's about that time. Usually you see us on Mondays, but since we have the time, we're coming in on a Friday episode. Thursday Night Football was just too close for comfort, too close of a game to not talk about, as well as some other hot sports topics from the past week. This is In the Huddle, episode 65. I'm Kenny C. Alongside me, per usual, is my main man, the real Lil, Cam Jones, and a new guest on today's show, first-timer, my main man, Mike, from back home or from home, longtime friend of mine, and he knows his football. He's ready to chef it up. Gents, how we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. Obviously, the game last night didn't go the way how I wanted it to go and all that. But for all the Brady haters out there, for all the people that's ready to put Brady in the ground and say he's done, let's throw that Brady funeral on. It's over. Lazarus has risen, and he will risen soon. All right, trust me.
Hey man, I'm glad to be on the show. It's always a blessing and an honor to be with you guys as always. We always talk about good content and looking forward to talk about some football tonight. Let's get it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I watch you boys all the time. It's a good show. Love talking some football. Let's have a nice show.
Yes, sir. So I will bring in the first topic, and I don't even have to sit here and think about who's going to grab the mic first, because the real Lil has been fuming since last night. I'm going to bring it in. The Bears defeated the Bucs last night, Thursday Night Football, 20-19. Tom Brady loses track of downs at the end. Thought it was now fourth, but it was already turned over. Is Tom Brady to blame overall for the Buccaneers' loss? Lil?
Y'all ready? You good?
I'm ready.
Listen, I got to break it down to y'all, man. I got to break the science to y'all right now. We might not be in science class, but I'm going to break the science information to y'all. First of all, in the first half, let me get it right. The Buccaneers offense looked spectacular in the first half. You know what I'm saying? They had passes to Tyler Johnson, the rookie out of Minnesota, who I liked, who I thought should have got more burn, but obviously the injuries played a part in why he was probably going to be the fifth or sixth wide receiver. Caught a couple balls, had a 38-yard catch, one after catch. We also had Jalen McKickens. I don't know if anybody knew who that was prior to last night, but that's just the reality of the wide receiving core. It's decimated. But anyway, underestimated, right? That's what y'all want to talk about. Oh, we underestimated the Bears. After the first half, when we was up 13-0, all right, I don't know what happened with our offensive line in the second half. All right, I don't know what happened. I don't know what kind of lapse happened. I don't know what happened because we was blocking in the first half. I'm like, yo, our offensive line looked fairly decent. Ronald Jones Jr. was having a great day, and he was, running for a lot of yards. I'm like, all right, we up to something. And then our offensive line just lapsed. First of all, the penalties. Ryan Jensen, center, supposed to be, guarding Tom Brady, and this guy want to headbutt somebody like he the great Khali. I mean, literally, you got Tristan Wirfs, as big as Tristan Wirfs is, getting flipped around like a daggone pancake by Khalil Mack with one hand. I don't know what the hell was going on. Donovan Smith couldn't daggone guard Moses from the Bible if he wanted to. He couldn't guard him. All right, what's going on? You gonna sit here and blame this on Tom Brady? Don't even try it. Don't even try it, y'all. Don't try it.
Cam, Mike?
But yeah, to get to your point, Leo, I think the Bears secondary, they just start to take advantage of that decimated receiving core. I mean, you saw Brady holding on to the ball for a while, and we know that's not Brady. We know he's going to get the ball out fast. And they got to him. They sacked him at least, I don't know off the top of my head, at least 3-4 times in the second half. I thought they stopped running the ball too soon because Rojo was having a nice game. But no, Khalil Mack, was Khalil Mack. Most of the time of that game, he was one-on-one the whole time. I didn't really see a lot of chipping going on. The running back staying in to help. Yeah, I mean, they were and that's what Bruce Arians does. He wants to let all the receivers go out, spread it, throw it deep. But, I think mainly it was just the Bears secondary started clamping up in the second half.
Yeah, honestly, Leo, I can't really say that it was entirely Brady's fault. The main thing for me here that says it wasn't Brady's fault is, like you said, the penalties. And Bruce Arians even took the blame on himself. He said it was bad coaching on my part, just flat out bad coaching. I mean, when you have 11 penalties totaling 109 yards, which that equals a score, that's going to obviously take a toll on the team as a whole. You got to stay more disciplined than that. Yes, there were some bad calls, But overall, like when you have 11, not all 11 of those were bad calls. So the Bucs needed to tighten up with that. If you want to take the argument that it was Brady's fault, I mean, like Cam said at the end, I mean, this is Tom Brady, like a quarterback genius. For him to say, like, what the hell down is, like, come on, bro. Like, that was
J.R.
on him
Smith
there.
moment right there.
Yeah.
That was on him. Yeah, that was just like, exactly. That was a JR. Like, what the hell are you doing out here? That was bad. And then in the first half, I will say, on that first drive, they ate up a lot of clock. And to only get 3 out of that, you know, you take what you get against this Bears defense because it is stingy and it is pretty damn good. So for them to only come away with 3, he kind of threw a duck on that 3rd and 6 in the red zone. You can blame Brady for that. Second half, though, I thought that they did adjust pretty good. Bruce Arians adjusted pretty good, like Mike said, with their play call. You know, it wasn't the best, but they did what they could because the Bears defense is nothing to overlook, man. And that's one of my takeaways. The Bears defense, the way they looked against the Bucs, I know they have a beat-up offense, and it's not as electric as it could be, but you still got some guys on the field like Gronk and obviously Mike Evans, Ronald Jones in the backfield. So Bears defense, for me, that's a takeaway. I think they're going to keep a competitive season, and I could see them contending in the playoffs because of that defense.
I would say this though, the Bears defense is legit, and they're gonna be. It's gonna be like the Bears of a couple years ago when Mitch Trubisky made the playoffs. A great defense. That's what the Bears is predicated on. Having a good defense. Your quarterback just have to make the good amount of plays to win you the game and not lose it. So that's all Nick Foles needs to be, is a game manager, and that's basically what he showed yesterday. He can get the ball down the field, something Mitch Trubisky cannot do. So at least if he gets the ball down the field, that would give his wide receivers a chance to make a play on the football, and that's exactly what they did last night. To your point about how good the Bears defense is, that's why I'm not worried as you know, a Tom Brady guy, because the Bears only allow a 57% completion, the best in the NFL. Another thing, you're talking about a Bears team that has the best red zone defense in the league. Mike Evans caught a touchdown on the slant route against the Bears defense. So all in all, even though the Patriots offensive line looked terrible and they lost the game by 1 point, the fact of the matter is, the Bucks. Even though they lost to the Bears by 1 point, the point of the matter is they still lost by 1 point to a team that has, as good of a defensive line than they're going to see. The Bears is that team defensively, and they still had a chance to win.
The problem for me, like with this though, is like, this is the second time that the Bucs are tested with a solid team, like a solid defense. Look at New Orleans. Last week, like, all right, 5 touchdowns, but you're playing the Chargers defense.
That point is invalid.
I know there's injuries, but I'm a bit worried about Brady, bro. This is a good defense. You got to play well against a good defense if you want to win the Super Bowl.
Tom Brady is fine.
You got to play good against a good defense if you want to win the Super Bowl. That's all I'm saying. The fact that they had only 4 third downs converted out of the 14, that's pretty bad, bro. Like, they had some pretty long third downs.
Can we talk about who Tom Brady was throwing the ball to? Have you ever heard of a guy named Hudson?
Bro, but did you not say last show that Brady can make anybody look good? Did you not say that Brady can make anybody look good?
Did you overthrow Hudson that first drive?
He did, but it was pressure in his face. So, had he got
what did I say last show? That's another thing, Lou. What did I say? When you get pressure on Brady, he's not Brady anymore.
It's that interior pressure
was in that face.
All I'm saying is, guys, for the past 20 years, Brady been a system quarterback. So when he was in New England, he already had a system that, that
98% of quarterbacks in the league are system quarterbacks.
No.
But not 98%.
98% of the guys are system quarterbacks.
Bro, you're talking about the golden goose egg of Belichick.
And you talking about, all right, y'all talking about, Brady doesn't do good with pressure. That had always been Brady's career, and he still won 6 rings. So I'm not concerned about that. He gets the ball.
He had a good offensive line in New England the past 20 years. What are you telling me?
Now.
He had backups. He had backups of O-line that protected him well. When he got to Tampa, it's a whole different story.
Don't get me wrong.
Like I said,
the offensive line has to play better. But let's not act like the receivers – you know what I'm saying? Let's not act like the receivers are healthy. These guys, outside of Mike Evans, who's hobbled, wide receiver 2 and 4 are not playing. He literally played with 5 and 6s, guys that are free agents that was drafted in the 5th round. All right, so let's not forget that too. And they still almost won the game. And not to mention, the chemistry is not all the way there yet.
My main concluding point with this is I was kind of like half and half. Like, I don't blame Brady entirely because when you have 109 yards worth of penalties, you can't put all the blame on the quarterback.
Right.
So I'm not blaming Brady, but all I'm saying is second team that has a good defense that they played and they weren't able to get it done. That kind of worries me if I'm a Bucs fan.
My thing here is the officiating was horrible. Can we talk about the
Oh,
officiating
yeah.
here?
Nah, it was
pretty
That
bad.
that penalty
Really bad.
on Shaquille Barrett when he sacked Nick Foles cost us the game outright.
That
It
wasn't
cost us
even
the
one of
game
the worst.
outright.
The Carlton Davis, that pass interference, the ball
Yeah.
went out the zone
Exactly.
by like 8
You're right.
yards.
You're right. That
No, I
was the
didn't agree
worst
with- There were a
too.
lot.
It's-
There was also that Mike Evans pass interference. He barely touched the. I mean,
Yeah,
it was.
no,
Literally,
it was some
the referees were
wishy-washy
clearly
ass officiating.
on the payroll. They were clearly on speed dial. That's what it was. First of all, Keyshawn Vaughn did not hold that ball long enough for that to be considered a fumble. That changed the game. Sort of what we saw last week with the Chargers in that fumble.
That
it
was
changed
two
the game.
steps, bro.
Yeah, I
Nah,
thought that
bro.
was
That
a
was
fumble
two
too.
steps.
I thought that was
Bro.
a fumble too.
That
And
was a
it's not the
fumble.
fact that it was a fumble or not. It's the fact that it's inconclusive evidence to overturn the call that was already on the field. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see it clearly enough for me to say, all right, let's
I
overturn
mean, bro, the man took 2 steps and then took the
He had
right
control,
stick on
too.
the Xbox controller and got trucked over by Kyle Fuller.
it. No, he
So,
did.
like,
But that wasn't.
That was a
You had
beautiful
to stay
hit.
with the call.
That was
You
a
had to
nice
stay with
hit.
the call.
That was
that
And then
was
the
a
Shaquille-
textbook hit.
The Shaquille Barrett one. People don't realize that the Bears were going to punt in their own territory, backed up, and they were going to give the Buccaneers with a lead, a good field position to go and add on to that lead. So that was a big call in
And
that
I'll
game.
give you this, too. Even though the rule is, like, you can't land fully on the quarterback, how the hell are you going to tell a guy that eats Burger King every day and is 350 pounds not to land on this man?
Have it your way, my brother. Have it your way. Now, I'm not going to lie. I had me
I'm
some
not
Burger
too-
King early this week. It's slamming.
I don't know if I'm too concerned if I'm a Bucs fan though about the off. I mean, Mike Evans wasn't 100%. Godwin wasn't out there. Scotty Miller wasn't 100%.
Right.
You know, and that was a good defense. You know, but I think if anything, they hurt themselves more than anyone else. I mean, there was one drive. There were drives where they're like 2nd and 30. That one
Yeah,
drive where
that's-
after Brady's yelling at his O lineman. I mean,
Literally.
they shot themselves in the foot that game.
Bro, and that's the thing about the Buccaneers. The 2 losses that the Buccaneers have,
The Saints game, they
well,
were
arguably the Buccaneers beating the Buccaneers. So as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, the Saints didn't beat the Buccaneers, even though that might show in the record books. The Bears didn't beat the Buccaneers, even though that might show in the record books. The Buccaneers beat the Buccaneers. So when and if and possibly when, because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, when they learn how to be disciplined on the football field and not create stupid penalties, when they block a little better, they showed signs of it here and there. They had a good first half. I don't know what happened in the second half. If they improve those things, the Buccaneers are a team that nobody wants to see. Nobody want to see at all. Because that offense is showing signs. Like, they'll start early. Early in the game, even against the Saints, they scored in that first drive. They went the length of the football field, got a touchdown. I don't know what it is. I think it's the chemistry issues, while later on in the game, they seem to not replicate the first or second drive. So hopefully once they build more consistency, this offense is going to be humming, literally.
Here, fellas. We got to hand over the mic to my man Mike, because this guy bleeds blue and white through and through.
Hand the mic to Mike.
Diehard Tennessee Titans fan, and he's going to bring us in, give us the insider report on what's went on with the Tennessee Titans and COVID, because the league is certainly in jeopardy right now. Mike?
So week 3, before they played the Minnesota Vikings, that Thursday they brought in the DB to the practice squad, and he had tested positive that day. They removed him from the facility. You know, we don't know who he came in contact with during that time there. So then we moved to Saturday, right before they take flight off to Minnesota. Defensive coordinator tests positive for the virus. So he doesn't fly with the team. He doesn't go with them to Minnesota. That Tuesday after, 3 players test positive, 5 staff members test positive, shut down the facility. The league said that they told them that day that there were to be no outside workouts and training and stuff like that. So from Tuesday to Monday, this Monday, there were positive tests all week. Monday, Tuesday this week, it was negative. They wanted to reopen on Wednesday, but of course there was a positive test Wednesday morning. Yesterday was a positive. Today, negative. Hopefully tomorrow will be negative. They can open up the facility and play Tuesday against the Bills. But a lot of people were coming out saying automatically they broke protocol, this and that. And they probably did. They probably weren't enforcing the mask rules hard enough. There's reports that they have video of players not even wearing masks in the facility. And then you had the pictures with the workouts at the high schools. The workouts are, a little bit iffy, since both the players came out and said, they were like, we didn't know. It wasn't anything written saying that they couldn't. There was a memo the day after the workout saying no outside gatherings. Now, if they find there were workouts after that memo, then they should definitely be punished for that. But the league's main concern right now, they want to know how it got in the building, who got it first, how they get it, and what can they do to stop it. And, they've already changed the protocols a little bit. They're slowing down the process of bringing guys in. I mean, the league is never going to come out and say, oh, yeah, we could have done this better, because, that's how they work. But we're really not going to know anything until all the reports come out. And, if the league, if they thought this was going to be a perfect season, that was wrong. They're dumb for that.
I got a question for you. And I got some thoughts about it too. I'm not gonna allow the Titans to get off the hook as you are, because I know you're the Titans fan.
No, they
shouldn't.
They should be fine, and they're gonna lose.
Yeah. Before I even get into that aspect of it, my question to you, since you are the Titans fan and the Titans follower, is you look at the Titans right now. They're 3-0. They look, the offense look fairly decent. Ryan Tannehill has definitely looked good this year, as well. And you still got Derrick Henry,
so far.
And they 3-0. So my thing here is that the fact of the matter is they're getting all these positive cases, and now each week the games are being canceled. Or you worried as a Titans fan that, look, we are 3-0, and this can actually mess up a season that has potential?
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, right now we have a couple of key guys that are going to miss the Buffalo game. And this game, even full strength, we knew this was going to be a tough game regardless. But for one thing there's other positive tests going on. And, A.J. Brown, star receiver, tweeted out, he said, you better all keep the same energy for all these other teams that are testing positive, because they got a lot of heat. No team has had an outbreak like the Titans yet.
Right.
But, I mean, from a fan standpoint, you don't want to see any more positive tests. But if you're on the Titans from a football perspective, you almost want to see another outbreak from another team, because the NFL can always come back to, yeah, they had positive tests, but you're the one that had that big outbreak. You guys are at fault. You guys weren't following the protocols. So there's been a lot of overreaction with some of the stuff that's been going on, especially since there hasn't been any official, news drop yet about what they really broke. I saw an article the other day that said what they did was worse than Spygate, Bountygate, Deflategate, and the worst one of it all.
It actually is, but
Wow.
And then the last one was that it was worse than what Michael Vick did.
Oh,
all right. That's dragging it. That's dragging it.
Talking about $20 million in fines, suspension for the coach, Vrabel, and our GM. Some crazy, without even any official information being brought out yet. And
Listen.
I think it'd be a lot worse if the Vikings started testing positive. But after we played, they've had no positive tests so far.
Yeah, and that shows. To be honest with you, that's all right. Go ahead, Kenny C. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say my thoughts.
Nah, I just wanted to say, like Mike said, if in fact it's found that after the memo they were still clowning around and not listening to protocol, I mean, 1,000%. You have to punish them. When Sean Payton and company and Greg Williams were found that they were intentionally or paying off players to hurt other guys, that's concrete evidence. You can't get around that. You deserve punishment. Same thing applies with the Titans. They're convicted of it, and it happened, you got to. So to say that Vrabel should be suspended for the whole season, that's a little extreme. Especially if, let's say, 2 weeks down the road, God forbid, knock wood, another outbreak happens and the season gets screwed up. You just said, all right, well, Vrabel's going to get suspended for the whole year. They're going to lose draft picks, this and that. But then if the league shuts down, then that team that had an outbreak too might not even get as critical of punishments. So I think they do deserve, obviously, punishment if they're convicted, but not in an extreme manner where Vrabel gets a whole year suspension
I just feel like right now, man, throughout this whole COVID thing, the Titans been very careless. Almost every day I'm hearing new cases coming up, and it's just unfair for the opposing team. The opposing team is pretty much game planning for you guys, but yet you guys putting things in jeopardy or like pushing games back, and it's like you kind of turn the timing off, if you get what I mean. So, and I just feel like Vrabel deserves a punishment, not for the whole season, of course, but I just feel like these guys need to take this matter seriously, because at the end of the day, at some point in time, Roger Goodell and company are going to be like, you know what, we're going to halt the season until like the cases go down, and it's going to be very unfortunate for every fan, every team. So
Literally. And you're not only hurting the Titans, you're hurting the Bills that's coming up next in your schedule that was supposed to play a Thursday night game after that. You're also hurting the Texans. You're hurting these other teams as well that's coming up on your schedule. So the fact of the matter is, if they catch you on camera out here lollygagging like it's the Last Supper when you should be having mask on, like, I mean, come on, like, you have to face some type of penalty, because at the end of the day, right now, this is not a normal season. The season could be hanging in the balance of your individual actions. One person could mess it up. I like what we saw from Rudy Gobert. That shut the whole, universe down, basically, with what he did, his careless acts. So that can happen. The Titans could literally, stop the NFL from completing the season. And this goes to the question, or not the question, this goes to the topic about the NFL stepping their game up too. Because, we can sit here and criticize the Titans, as we should. But the NFL, you need to step up your game. You may have to come up with a plan, whether or not it's in the playoffs, to try to do a bubble as best as you can. I know the numbers don't support the bubble because the players have too many players and coaches. But I don't think it's gonna work this way at all, especially with careless teams like the Titans.
Fellas, let me tie something else into this to take some heat off the Titans here. What about the New England Patriots before that Chiefs game? When a few days before, when Cam Newton has the virus, but the NFL goes, oh, no, it was just Cam. Doesn't bother to wait and maybe think about rescheduling because other players could have it. And then what happens? Gilmore, right in the ear of Mahomes at the end of the game talking, is found to have had the virus. Did he not? Didn't he have the virus?
Yeah, right after the game. Yeah.
So,
he tested positive.
Like you just said, Leo, that's on the NFL, bro. That's terrible on the NFL. Because if one player has it, you can't just assume that no other player on the team was not in contact with him and could have gotten it.
The only thing is,
and I just read too, real quick. Cam Newton, Gilmore were spotted at dinner that Friday night before the weekend, before that game. They were spotted at dinner, and Cam obviously had punished too. So that's when he got the NFL didn't take that into account. Oh well, only Cam had it. Like that's all we know. So we're going to have the game because it's a primetime game.
And that's the thing about these players. That's why you want to quarantine these players. That's why you want to at least, I don't know what it is, a Thursday to Sunday, quarantine them in a hotel or something. Right. Don't let them go out because, bro, there's always going to be a Magic City guy. A guy that want to go to Magic City, the strip club, you know what I'm saying, to throw bands or go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Rodman. Imagine Dennis Rodman at this time playing through COVID. Hell no. The Bulls would have been done. And Jordan, all right? Because that brother would have been out there, all right? He would have met King John-Un or whatever chilling with him, throwing bands. Listen, that's just what it is. So, look, it's a whole lot right now, and I think the NFL definitely, you do have to punish the Titans to send a message, but at the same time, you have to look in the mirror and get your act together and come up with a better plan than you have right now, because right now it's not going to work. So you shouldn't be practicing at this time in general, I think.
We also don't know if the people that were there were even the one that tested positive. Now, that would be really dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Really dumb. And that's the thing. You're having a whole outbreak on your team. And Ryan Tannehill was at that practice, actually, to be honest with you. So
he's the one that called the headmaster and said, can we practice there? And they said yes. So, I mean, it wasn't like they tried doing it and they didn't think they were going to get caught. They didn't know. But
the last thing I'm going to say on this topic is, as much as the Titans are deserving of a penalty or a fine or a draft, a lost draft, maybe a forfeit of a game, they're going to get it. But listen, the NFL, through all this, don't forget the Titans. Remember the Titans.
Topic number 4. Washington demotes QB Dwayne Haskins all the way to QB number 3. Did Haskins get a fair shake? He did not. I'll be honest with you. He did not get a fair shake at all. Solely because I felt like, I'm sorry, God, but I'm going to use race to this. I feel like he's an African American that really didn't prove him. Well, that didn't already prove himself right away. So I think right now Washington just pulled the plug on him and decided to go with Kyle Allen, which is just unfortunate. And don't get me wrong, now his stats wasn't that bad. He had 947 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, which is it's not good, but it's not bad either. You feel me? Like his stats is way better than Daniel Jones of the New York Giants. You know what I mean? And I just felt like to demote him all the way to QB3, that's terrible.
Seems like there's more going on there.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
No, and I feel like Haskins still developing as a quarterback. You get what I mean? He's in a new system with a new head coach, so obviously it's going to take time for him to adapt. But I just felt like Washington pulled the plug too early on him, honestly.
I would say this. I think it was the right decision. I think all in all, the Redskins made the right decision to go with Kyle Allen simply because he fits that offensive system better, right? Scott Turner's system in Carolina, he has familiarity with that system. So I do think it was the right decision. However, the question is, did Haskins get a fair shake? And I think me and Cam could agree that the brother got a raw deal. Because is he perfect? Nah, he's far from being perfect. But let's remember, John Gruden didn't want him over there when he got drafted. He didn't want to draft him. That caused a little friction in that locker room. A little Jay Gruden, my fault. I get them mixed up all the time. There was a little uncomfortableness when he got drafted there. He was doing that debacle last year. And not to mention that his 11 starts have come under 2 coaching staffs with different offensive systems, right? So my thing here is, he may not have been perfect. I heard a lot of things about him, how he was ragging about his performance and a loss. He's not perfect. But there is a saying, you are a product of your environment. Look at Josh Rosen. Oh, I'm glad I brought up Josh Rosen. I'm glad I brought him up because let's talk about him. Because he actually, Josh Rosen here, had 400 more pass attempts. Not 400. He has 400 pass attempts, 50 more than Dwayne Haskins at 350. And that's before Arizona moved on from Rosen. So you talk about Rosen getting a raw deal, which he definitely did. He's one of the quarterbacks I look to as getting a raw deal. Dwayne Haskins is still in that category along with him.
Now, I'm going to say this. I do think that, at least for this week, it was a good move because as a whole, and this is not to blame on Haskins, as a whole, let's be real, this team is pretty terrible. They're 1-3. Injuries are plaguing them. They have a backup guard in for Brandon Scherf, who's banged up this week. Their center is banged up. They had Chase Young out last week. Terry McLaurin's banged up. So this is a team that's just all over the place in Rivera's first season. Look at, like we said before with Rodgers and LaFleur. The first year was shaky as hell. The defense had to carry a lot. And you can apply that to the Redskins, or the Washington football team, to some extent, because they have plenty of injuries. It's a brand new system, like you guys alluded to, for Haskins. And, to be fair, against the solid as hell Ravens defense, he didn't have any scores, but he didn't have any turnovers and 314 yards. So you can't really blame Haskins for that. Now, if you want to shake it up, put in Kyle Allen, maybe you get a little change of momentum. Maybe they're just figuring out who they have and what they're capable of. So overall, I'm not mad at the change, but to bench him for the rest of the season, I don't think so. It's not, you can't blame Haskins.
Yeah, to your point, Cam, I don't think it really is about race because, we're talking about Ron Rivera, who's big in minority hiring.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you heard him, with his quotes today, he said, we just don't want to lose him, So I don't look at this as a bench for the rest of the season. I think it's just for right now. And I trust Ron Rivera, what he did with Cam Newton, developing him through all those years. I think he made the right decision because you got to think he is learning a new system, especially with the virus. They missed OTAs, which is usually the big part of when you implement the system.
Right.
And Ron Rivera even said, he was looking at the division, because we know how bad that division is.
Worst
It'd
division
be,
in
he
football.
said, he's like, it'd be crazy to not go for it. And Kyle Allen, who was there with him, knows the system already, I'm not saying he's better than Haskins, but at this point, I think he's capable of running the offense better
More
than Haskins
acclimated.
right now.
Yeah, he's more familiar with the offense.
I've liked what Rivera's done so far with the system. I mean, they're running a lot of play action. I'm sure at one of the top in the league running play action. They got a lot of misdirection, a lot of motion. It's almost, they're almost implementing a lot of stuff that you kind of saw with Ohio State. A lot of shotgun, a lot of vertical concepts. So I trust Ron Rivera. I think Haskins has potential. He's got a big arm, but he's a project. We knew he was going to be a project, and he's got to be in a certain system to work. With Jay Gruden, it was like put him in the back, have him drop back 40 times, read the whole field, and pick them apart. That's not his game. And what great coaches do is they change the system for what's best with the players that they have around them. Like we're seeing up in New England right now.
Yeah.
And I felt like Rivera's done a good job with that. And like you said, it's not – the way he said it was it doesn't seem like it's right now. He doesn't want to lose him. He doesn't – I think Rivera knows his team better than anyone else. He knows that the O-line is not good, and they have virtually zero running game.
And add to that, Mike, like you said, in 2019, his rookie season, that whole team was a dumpster fire from the start.
Yeah, I don't even look at that.
McCoy and Smith go down, and then a guy that was
Trent
told,
Williams, your best offensive player, your best player in general.
And
there's a reason why
Haskins,
Gruden isn't there anymore.
You're going to ride the bench for the first year, like most quarterbacks do coming out of the draft, unless you're a guy like Trevor Lawrence who may get that start with whatever team he ends up with. Like, they told him from the start. So mentally, you're like, all right, I'm going to learn the offense. I'm going to learn the system. I'm not going to be ready. And then, bang, in a game, I think, against the Giants, he has to be thrown in.
And that's exactly what me and Cam –
last year, really.
That's terrible.
That's exactly what me and Cam is saying. The brother got a raw deal. Not to mention that Dwayne Haskins was demoted all the way to the number 3 quarterback, backing up a guy who almost lost his life last year, who shouldn't, who the doctors is not even certain should be playing football. And you put him on at the number 3 string, that's humiliation right there. That can mess up somebody's confidence. So you saying, Ron Rivera, I don't want to lose you.
Anyway, to start with, honestly.
But still,
he wasn't playing with anything.
Benching somebody to the number 3 quarterback after you a starter, that's a humiliation right there.
But look, you could also look at it
whatever
like
little confidence
like
he may have had, if any, that just literally just bury it.
There's
but also, look what
scenes,
you just said, though. Alex Smith obviously went through a potential career-ending injury. So now that he's finally up to speed, and obviously the personnel and the doctors there say, all right, like he's capable of playing again, maybe they put him in a backup situation so that he can get acclimated to football again.
Honestly, for Alex Smith to be back, I'm still iffy about it because just like, we saw it like last year, 2 years ago, he broke his leg and it was a very gruesome injury.
Very gruesome.
And I think right now he's still comfortable to do.
I mean, that's on him,
and think about it.
That's on him.
About it. If something happens to Kyle Allen and now Alex Smith is thrown into that fire, so it's all holds loose there. So we have to just trust and hope because we ruined with a terrible line, and we gotta hope because obviously I want to see Alex Smith succeed because I like that comeback story. I'm a big fan of comeback stories, so I would love to see him succeed. But with that terrible old line, if something happens to Kyle Allen, then he's gonna be put in that fire right there. So listen, you can say Kyle Allen runs the system better, and they looking at the NFC East. Right now, and they saying, listen, we running 3, but guess what? We still have a chance of winning the division. So let's go in the direction of Kyle Allen. That's fair because he's familiar with the system. But that doesn't take away that this brother, Dwayne Haskins, got a raw deal since he was drafted.
I think we all conclude with this topic that Haskins should not be benched for the rest of the season, and it's not put on him.
He won't be. He's on a bad team. Do you think Sam Darnold has had a raw deal? Poor coach, poor line.
Oh, hell no.
I mean,
no.
I would say this. I would say this.
I thought you were going to say, has he had a fair chance? Hell no.
I would say this to my point. He has a fair chance, though, because the only thing is, though, when you look at it, he hasn't got demoted. So when I look at raw deals, yeah, you can say that's a kind of like it's on the verge of being a raw deal. It's not a raw deal yet. It's when you get the short end of the stick and you like
now
you
he's
know what I'm
kind
saying.
of demoted.
He's not demoted. He's still starting. What is
No,
demoted about
Flacco's
Sam
getting the
Darnold?
start.
Because he got hurt.
He's hurt. Yeah.
He's hurt.
He's
So
hurt.
he's hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't say he got the raw deal. Adam Gates may be fired this year. They may be a new coach with a new regime, and let's see. Or Sam Darnold may be able to go somewhere where he could be a contender if they do drive. If they do drive Trevor Lawrence and they move on from Sam Darnold, then that would be considered a raw deal for me.
I look at it as that Ron Rivera is doing what he feels is best for Dwayne Haskins right now. And if that's what he truly feels, then I trust Ron Rivera.
And there's a reason why they went into that draft with picking Haskins as their guy. They're not just going to shaft him and be like, all right.
We don't
we're
even
done
know if
with
that's
you.
Rivera's guy either. He wasn't there when they drafted him.
Exactly. So
You know?
I agree. Rivera's going to work with what he has. And like you said, which was a great point, how well he developed Cam, like you got to put some trust into Rivera and a future with him and Haskins.
So that's basically saying, and I'm not saying that you're wrong or not or right.
We're not saying he didn't get a raw deal. He did. No, I mean, but
No. I'm going back to a point. I'm going back to a point that Kenny C made. You said Ron Rivera was able to develop Cam. That's fair. That's true.
No, he was able to.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I said. He was able to develop Cam, and you followed up with that, both of y'all. So my thing here is that's what you're telling me that Haskins is just not that great because Ron Rivera cannot develop him, or maybe is it too early? Like what?
It's too early.
No, it's much too early. That's
But he
what I'm
hasn't
trying to
shown
say.
a lot of.
He hasn't had enough time. And then look at COVID. Like
so, if
COVID
Kyle
crushed everything.
If Kyle Allen somehow gets that Redskins team to the playoffs, right? Because it's not impossible. It's the daggone NFC East. I can win the NFC East by myself. Okay, that's just what it is. So if he does, and Haskins don't get to see the football field again as a starter, what does that tell you about Ron Rivera, or what does that say about Ron Rivera and Dwayne Haskins? I'm just saying that I'm just throwing the hypotheticals out there. You know what I'm saying? It's not too wrong to get hypothetical. I'm just saying then that means once again, Haskins will not get that opportunity. Raw deal. And the real deal. You feel me?
And they're gonna move on from him, just like you said, though. If Kyle Allen end up magically taking the Washington football team to the playoff, they're definitely going to move on from Haskins.
It won't take much, though. Yeah. It won't take much.
Yeah, they're going to move on.
My thing is, if they were going to really be, they're really going to cut bait on Haskins this fast, why don't you just sign Cam?
Right.
Yeah. You saw like the deal that he got.
Exactly.
That's the same thing I said.
Why wouldn't they have just signed Cam then? But I think Haskins has potential. I think
that's what I'm saying. They have obviously faith in this man. They're not.
I think they're doing what's best.
They didn't curb him. That team is a dumpster fire right now.
I would never understand. Should I say why Ron Rivera didn't bring in Cam Newton? Like, let's remember, Kyle Allen was under Cam Newton. They wasn't part of the same team. It was part of the same team, and Ron Rivera coached both of these guys. The fact of the matter is, he brought Kyle Allen over there and allow Cam Newton to be on the free agent market for that long. I'm like, you got to a Super Bowl with Cam Newton. Why didn't you bring Cam Newton?
It could have been an upper management type of thing too, because the coach only has so much say in it.
But I'm just saying, like, if you're giving a guy the keys to your franchise, you should give him the keys to run the show. If you're giving somebody the keys to drive the car, you better drive the car, brother. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I feel like, the only reason why Ron Rivera didn't bring Cam Newton to Washington was solely because of Cam's character. What you guys, well, we don't know. Honestly, guys, there's a lot of things go behind closed doors. You get what I mean?
He knows him better than anyone.
Yeah.
Rivera knows him better than anyone.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Belichick has a whole lot of good things to say about Cam Newton. More than does Tom Brady, who's been there over 20 years.
Oh. Like I said, it's all
politics. It's clearly politics.
There you go, politics. That's the correct term for it. And I feel like Ron Rivera didn't want the same crap over again. He's like, I'm tired with you. I spent 9 seasons with you in Carolina. It's time for a fresh start. So I'm going to take Kyle Allen.
And we also don't know the ins and outs of their relationship together too. So
I think if the Cowboys or the Eagles were really in the lead right now and they were looking good, I think Haskins would probably still be out there.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I think right now they just want to get some wins. They want to build a culture there. They want to
That's
They want to play meaningful
exactly.
games in November and December, and he just I think, and like, listen to his quote. He said, "We don't want to lose him." He obviously thinks he has some potential. I
I'm
think he'll
not
still be
falling for
starting
that.
though.
I'm
That's what
sorry.
I'm trying to
I'm
say.
not falling for that.
They're just testing the waters right now with
You
who
know, that
they
sounds like a
have.
relationship. That sounds like you breaking up with somebody and you about to see somebody else and you text that somebody that you're breaking up with, yo, I don't want to lose you, because you want that person to still be around so you can use them, all right, for what they bring and what they possess. But yeah, I want to mess with Shorty over here. That's basically what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. I don't want to lose you. Brother, he's still signed to your team. You're not going to lose him right now. You know what I'm saying?
I think
I
he
don't get
means
it.
like he just doesn't want to throw him into the fire, let him get
He
beat
already
up.
did. He already got thrown in the fire.
And
He already put him more into deep fire by benching him to the third string.
Listen,
well, like I
And
said,
he's
we don't
spreading
know.
the
We
if
don't
you
You
look
don't
know.
at
want to
it,
do
we know
what you saying you don't
we-
want to do. You already did. It's already been done.
Bro, but listen, we know the raw facts though. Washington is terrible all around. They're beat up right now. They're 1-3. Yes, the division sucks, but to an extent, you can look at this as Rivera trying to protect Haskins. They have a shit line. They might be trying to protect their
It's not about
franchise
protecting
guy.
Haskins, man. It's far
He
from that. It's
also
about trying to
hasn't
win the
played.
They're
NFC
trying to
East.
test other
It's not
waters,
like
bro.
he's played
If
great.
you're 1-3,
either,
you're not gonna change something.
If he wanted to protect Haskins, he wouldn't have been out there to start. If he was so called trying to
I mean,
protect,
he hasn't.
I don't.
He hasn't been great though.
He needed
He
a
has a
chance
lot
to
of
prove
flaws in his
something,
game
but
right now.
I
And
believe,
Rivera needed a better look
he's
at
not the
him.
most accurate.
I honestly believe that Ron Rivera wanted Kyle Allen to start with. You know what I'm saying? But he wanted to, he was like, all right, let's throw Haskins out there. Kind of knowing that he probably wasn't going to succeed, and then once give it like 2-3 games, we're gonna pull the plug. He runs my system better. He's actually who I really want. And we gonna throw him in there. That's how I feel personally. But I could be wrong.
Lil, did you say that Rosen got a raw deal too?
He's one of the quarterbacks that probably he would go down in the history books as getting a
Yeah.
award deal to
All
me.
right. No, yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, it
Definitely.
happens.
He definitely did. And
Especially
a lot
when
of,
you change coaches and
Yeah.
you bring in a new management that wasn't there when they drafted
like,
that guy. They
you
brought
know
in
what's weird?
Kingsbury. He didn't want Rosen. He wanted
Same
Murray.
type of thing with Haskins.
You know what's weird?
Except they didn't jump ship with him.
What puts the nail in the coffin is watching that Saints Buccaneers game and seeing Josh Rosen in the stands like a daggone scout. With a notepad. Like, that's the road there right there.
The one thing we can say though that's positive for that man is he's learning from one of the smartest, if not the smartest, quarterbacks of all time. So
hopefully he could take over. Who knows to say who's to say that he can't success Brady when he retires in the Buccaneers. Obviously that offensive line is going to have to block better, and the penalties, that's going to have to get cleared up. But next person that we got to talk about here, Aaron Rodgers, says down years for me or career years for other quarterbacks. He said that on the Pat McAfee show. Should we all be critical of Aaron Rodgers' comments? Kenny C, you're the Rodgers guy. Take us away.
I'm gonna say flat out, fellas, like from an literally honest to God, from an unbiased perspective, no, like the man is that bad of a man to say something like that. And all I have to say here for any of you fellas right here that want to dispute that, take last season. I'm going to go back to it. 26 touchdowns to 4 picks. Outside of the elite group of quarterbacks, put those stats on any average quarterback and tell me if that's not a career type year for them. Tell me right now. Any quarterback and tell me
other
if
than
that's
the
not a
top
career
tier
type
guys,
year.
other than the top tier, Russell Wilson, Mahomes,
Yeah.
Roethlisberger, but everyone else, I mean, that's like a career year.
That's what I'm saying. And that's 1 year. That's a bad year for the bad man himself. So that's all I really got to say, man. Like, let me hear your point, Leo, because I know you got some things brewing.
Oh, I got some things in the bag, but I'm gonna let somebody else get the mic first before I shut all y'all down. Go ahead.
Nah, I'm be honest. I'm gonna have to agree with Kenny C solely because, like, Rodgers proved time and time again, he may not have the best receiving core, but yet his numbers always look spectacular. Just like Kenny C said, last year he had 26 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, and this year, like, I believe he has 13 touchdowns, right, and 0 interceptions. Yeah, around there. Like I said, like, this guy, he's doing it with guys like we never heard of a day.
Darius Shepard and Malik Taylor. Have you ever heard of them?
Never. So honestly,
and last year, bro, last year, bro, who the hell was Alan Lazard last year? I heard that name. I was like, are we talking about a reptile exhibit?
Yeah.
Alan Lazard.
All right. Yeah, Mike, you want to say something? I'm
Yeah,
gonna let you go
real
ahead.
quick, real quick. So, for one thing, any athlete that says they don't listen to what the media says, that's a lie. Because Aaron Rodgers, he heard all the noise last year. I mean, and I'm a Titan fan, and they were talking on ESPN that Tannehill is more of a franchise quarterback than him right now. I mean, the disrespect that this man got last year was ridiculous. And the thing is, he's not wrong. When he says he's not wrong, and he's proven this year. I thought last year he wasn't as comfortable in the system. And if you listen to that interview, he says he's in a better spot. He's more comfortable with Matt LaFleur. They're on the same page. And you see a happy, healthy Aaron Rodgers, and he's clearly winning that divorce with Mike McCarthy for anyone that said, it was Rodgers' fault. He's not wrong about his stats.
I would say this, man. I got to be honest with y'all, brothers. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. It's Friday night. We don't sugarcoat stuff on Friday night in general.
Ooh.
Kenny C, me and you went to the same college. Friday night is on and popping. That's just what it is, right? It's Friday night. This had to be one of the most cockiest clickbait comments I have ever heard from a quarterback. I got to be honest with you. It's very cockish and clickbaitish. First of all, just because he's silencing his critics doesn't mean the critics were one to criticize him last year. You know what I'm saying? First of all, let me bring up something from Aaron Rodgers. I came prepared today, ladies and gentlemen. I have the stats right here. Let's bring this up. First of all, Aaron Rodgers, right? A couple years ago, in 2018, he called out his younger wideouts before, saying they were piss poor during the practice. And then he came out and said, I hope we not that soft to feel a type of way. I hope we can hear comments or read comments and not get offended by things. This is Aaron Rodgers here, all right? Obviously, as a human being, you like to be liked and appreciated, but I'm trying to win games because that's my job. And the media job is to talk about your performance. And last year, if you look at his statistical categories, they were dropped. So the media is going to say, all right, you fell off because that's what it looked like. So you called out your teammates and you telling them not to be worried and not to take it to heart, but yet the media criticize you. And you taking it to heart. I can't breathe.
Bro,
I mean,
he obviously took it to heart,
see?
but that's Aaron Rodgers. Like, if you're gonna criticize him, look at what he's doing right now. Best quarterback in football, highest rated graded quarterback.
That's this year.
National
That's
Football
this year.
League.
That wasn't last year.
Football Focus.
Matter of fact,
Last year, Leo, you're telling me
let's
that
look at his stats this year.
4,400 yards.
Let's look at his stats this year.
26 touchdowns to four interceptions.
Let's look at his stats this year to last year. All right. Completion percentage last year was 54.4. This year is 68. Last year he threw for 1,000 yards. Obviously he didn't throw for that much this year because the season is not complete. But his passer rating 87.5. This year is 142.7. So that shows you he's having a clear better year than he did last year.
Well, what's your point?
My point is, as a guy, as a star, you should be wanting to know that, all right, listen, I fell off. You shouldn't make excuses like, oh, I actually did better than these young quarterbacks. Are you these other quarterbacks or are you Aaron Rodgers? Do you hold yourself to those quarterbacks that you saying my year was better than, or are you holding yourself to Aaron Rodgers, this bad man? Bro, all right, then compare yourself to the bad man and realize that last year wasn't my best year. You should be embracing that. That's something that like when I lose a debate on this show, I embrace that. I'm like, all right, Kenny C got me. It's rare. It's very rare because I win a lot of these debates, right? But Kenny C
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. I say, all right,
that might be a bit.
Kenny C got me. Kenny C got me, and I take it. I don't feel a type of way about it. Well, he was the better man.
My man, this was a pointless argument from you because
this is factual. These are facts.
A down year for Aaron Rodgers, like I said, and ask any other knowledgeable football fan, is a career year for any other average quarterback.
Right.
Any other average quarterback. Why is he getting
Aaron Rodgers is DJ clickbait.
Look what Mike said. Look what Mike said before. That marriage, if you want to call it a marriage between McCarthy and Rodgers, was completely detrimental to Rodgers. Then you take him in a completely new system. He was with McCarthy for 10 plus seasons. Then you take him in a totally new system with one
With a young
number one
coach,
weapon
a
in
young
Devontae
coach.
Adams, a washed-up tight end for the Packers at least in Jimmy Graham, with no-name
Yep.
receivers. Did you know Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Aaron
Nope.
Lazard and Jake Kummerow
He was
last
supposed to be
season?
good. I mean,
Did you know
before yes,
Did you
I know
them
them.
last year?
There were talks that he was going to be a good wide receiver in the league. There was talks about his speed and
There
all
was
that.
talk,
I heard
bro.
about him.
He was with a
But
no-name
my
core
thing-
in a
my thing
first-year
is, though,
system. In a first-year
Aaron
system.
Rodgers-
And still put up career stats for any other average quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is obviously still at that elite level. So an off year to him is not an off year for any other quarterback that's not in the elite group.
But the only thing I'm saying is that as a star player, if you know you're great, Aaron Rodgers should be thinking I'm the best quarterback in the NFL. He's not, but he should be thinking that way. So if he had a no,
he has the highest
rubbish,
PFF
rubbish.
grade by a
Russell
mile.
Wilson is
Not
the
a
best
mile.
quarterback in the NFL.
Aside
but
from
anyway,
Russell Wilson, bro, he has the highest grade. You're
Aaron
saying
Rodgers-
complete hate for Rodgers, bro.
Why are you guys being
Come
Russell
on
Wilson
now.
in the top 10?
Utter hate for
Russell
Rodgers.
Wilson, he has the highest percentage
Yeah,
on
why?
deep balls. Russell Wilson has a high. He
Okay.
throws the most
Rodgers
beautiful
has
deep
the
balls,
highest PFF.
and he outplays Aaron Rodgers every year.
You know how hard that is
Rodgers
to
deep
get?
balls?
Come on, doesn't he lead head to head against Aaron Rodgers too? Didn't he send him home twice in the playoffs?
That's more.
All
of a
right,
team
that's
thing.
my point.
They're not
So you
playing
want to go that way?
Rodgers
All right,
and
that-
Wilson
You
aren't
want to
playing
go that
against
way?
each other.
Wilson
Rewatch
is
the
the
28
best quarterback in the NFL.
Rewatch the
Clearly,
2014 NFC Championship. And
It's
tell
like
me if that's
1A,
Aaron
1B.
Rodgers' fault.
It's
at
like
all.
1A, 1B.
Rewatch that game.
1A, 1B is Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes. That's 1A, 1B.
Nah.
And then we get to the Rodgers.
After that Patriots game, Rodgers is,
No.
especially after that. I know the Falcons, their defense is really
Pat
bad.
Mahomes
but-
and Rodgers is the same guy to me. Is that Pat Mahomes a little better?
No,
I
I'd say
would-
Rodgers is a
more
little
younger.
bit more accurate. I would say Rodgers is a little bit more accurate than Mahomes.
I could give
Best
you that.
passer
I
rating
could give
of
you
all
that.
time.
But they
When
play
Mahomes
the
touches
same
that,
way.
when
They play
Mahomes
that little
touches the best
improvised
touchdown to
touches,
interception ratio of all time, you could talk.
My last point, then I'm done with this topic. The only thing I'm saying, if you hold yourself to the highest standard and you have an off year, right? And you should feel like you had an off year if you didn't win the Super Bowl. You should feel like, all right, I didn't play my best. You should always feel like that, even if you had a good year. There's times when people would be like, yo, Lil, you had a good show. But in my heart, I'm like, yo, Kenny, see, I don't think I did good. But you probably like, oh, you did all right. I'm supposed to hold myself to that standard because that's how you achieve greatness. Michael Jordan didn't win 6. If he was happy with winning 1, he wouldn't have won 2, and he wouldn't have won 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're supposed to want to be the GOAT. You're supposed to want to be the best. So your stats drop from the last couple of years. You're supposed to look at that and be like, all right, I probably took a little backseat last year, but I'm back. That's it.
Bro,
that's all I'm saying.
My final point to this is there's many factors that go into it, but a brand new system, like let's say me and you go to one school for 3 years, right? 3 straight years, and we transfer in for our first year at another college. You got to get used to it. You got to get acclimated to it. You got to make friends, this and that.
Same thing with Tom Brady. Same thing with Tom Brady.
Same type of thing with Aaron Rodgers. 10 plus seasons with the same coach, and then he goes with a brand new scheme with little to no weapons at all.
Right.
Like, bro. And my final point is, in off year to him, pick any QB you want, go down the roster since 1960, any average quarterback you want, and those are outstanding stats.
That was more of a shot at the other QBs in the league instead of the media. Like, if I'm a quarterback and I'm looking at that, I'm like, damn, really? That's how you feel? I mean, that's basically really a shot at the media, you know?
It's just cocky. It's just a cocky
clickbait
type of comment.
No doubt.
That's basically is, and I'm not in favor. That's why I'm like, should we? The question is, should we be critical of the comment? If it's cocky and out of bounds, then I'm going to be critical of it.
If you weren't playing at such a high level right now so far, then we'd be like, you know.
Yeah, then we could say
that doesn't make it right though. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron, he walked out of the arena. I believe it was game 4 or 5.
Game
4 with 20 seconds left, right? Terrible sportsmanship. Right?
But what about Brady last night? He walked up the field, he didn't shake hands with anybody.
That too. That was terrible. That was terrible sportsmanship. I admit, as a Brady fan, I didn't like it at all. You go out on your shield. But at the same time, if LeBron James win a championship, that's not going to be talked about. People are going to praise LeBron James. But meanwhile, you walked up 20 minutes. That shows a lot about your character. Mind you, that wasn't the only night LeBron James walked out the court. He does it continuously. But nobody talks about that because he wins. So my point is, you know, just because, let's say Aaron Rodgers is having a good year this year, doesn't make that comment any more less validated to being critical than it already is.
Fair point.
All right. This was, I have to say, a pretty damn good episode.
Oh.
And I think we chefed it up. On a Friday night, we chefed it up. Mike, new guest, did great today, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on.
All right, fellas.
All right, y'all. Y'all enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back here on Monday to recap
Monday
the
night.
games from week 5.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's respect. If you don't got respect, you don't have nothing in this game, man. Respect, you can't buy it. I can't assign you respect. You gotta earn it. You gotta earn it. You want your name on the back of this jersey to mean something, you gotta earn that respect. You want these colors, these jerseys to mean something, you gotta earn that respect. Snap in, snap down.